Okay. Now, may we remember something of 1888. Remember 1888? 1888 is a time, let's begin from Henry Blair. Sunday Bill is the one above. I thank you. Now, in 1888, we remember that is one of the times when Sunday law has come into this world. There was also a time of Constantine. We noted those things, isn't it? Constantine in 321, March 7th. But now, in 1888, Sunday law comes. This is in the time of Ellen White. Remember what the Lord says? When Sunday law comes, he brings the truth so that people can decide between the truth and error. But when the Lord brought the truth in 1888 to the Adventists, we rejected it. Okay? And as a result, the Lord had to stop the Sunday law because he couldn't allow the Sunday law to go on and there is no army to tell the truth. Okay? And as a result, Ellen White was banished to Australia for 9 years. A.T. Jones and E.J. Wagner by the leadership, the General Conference. So things were not good, but we thank God. So in 1888, we had the Sunday law coming, the bill in Senate, and the person who brought it was called Blair, Henry W. Blair, if I'm not very wrong. And so, and this bill was coming to give or championing for workforce or laborers or wafanyikazi, workers, to have a day of rest. But not just a day of rest, but also a day of rest where they can worship. Okay. May I tell you this? You know, when sometimes you study these things, that's why you see I'm insisting we need to go through this quickly. Sometimes you just look at it and say, wait, this is serious. Because in the same time, 1888, in the government of United States, tariffs were a big deal at that time. Tariffs. Like you see the way the tariffs are now. A big deal. Tariffs were huge, and we can read, I know it's relayed, and I will read. Tariffs were indeed a significant political and economic issue in the USA around 1888. Following the 1888 election, which brought the Republican Benjamin Harrison to presidency and gave Republicans control of Congress, the stage was set for new tariff legislation. And this man called McKinley led a law to be legislated in Congress in 1890. A 50% tariff to protect domestic industries. Why is President Trump, pushing for tariffs now? To protect who? Domestic industries, isn't it? So that the ones who are out there, they can come to America and bring money here, and the industries in America thrive. Isn't it? Interesting, eh? It's history we are studying. This is history class 101. Okay, let's continue. It is very interesting, which I know it's not a coincidence, that during 1888, in Vatican, the Pope who was there was Pope Leo XIII. Are we still together or not? This is history. Go to Wikipedia, go and study. I mean, it's Google. Just go and do it. In 1888, the Pope who was there was Pope Leo XIII. And he had written an encyclical. An encyclical is a letter written by a pope. It was called Rerum Novarum. And it was for social teaching in addressing the obligation to protect workers on their days of rest and of worship. He wrote that a worker has interests in which he should be protected by the state. And first of all, the interests of the soul. From this follows the obligation, from this follows the obligation of the cessation from work and labor on Sundays and certain holidays. It should be a rest from labor, hallowed by religion for worship. So in 1888, when Sunday law is coming, tariffs are a big thing. Pope Leo XIII and Pope Leo XIV said what? He's taken his name and inspiration from Pope Leo the 13th. Okay. All right. Let's continue. There is a quotation, and I would like you to go and look at this in Evangelism. Yes, in Evangelism, page 694.4. You know, the Lord says, if the church would have accepted the message of Christ our righteousness in 1888, the Lord would have allowed Sunday law to go on, and the church would have gone and proclaimed the third angel's message, a warning against receiving the mark of the beast and giving the true Sabbath. And God's people would have been in Canaan by early 1900s. This one Ellen White wrote in 1903. It's there. Okay. Now listen to this. Let's go to the next one, brethren. The President Grover Cleveland. President Grover Cleveland. Now, in the history of United States presidents, there has been 2 presidents who have ruled, lost, and come back. One is President Grover Cleveland, who was ruling in the times of 1888, then lost, and then came back. The other one is Donald J. Trump. Okay. Still from around 1881 to around 1896, there was a cholera pandemic. Okay. Brothers and sisters, we are not saying that Sunday law is coming tomorrow, but we cannot bury our heads in the sand. We will be foolish if we won't study history and learn something and take note of that we don't have much time remaining to prepare. It's not yet over, but there is need for some haste in preparation, in overcoming, and we shall be looking at that tomorrow.